Yeah.
All right, players and playettes, it is time to talk about results. I want to give you 2 reasons why you're not getting results in the gym. And what we follow here at Riz Fitness is a pretty simple protocol. I've got 2 rules because they're the most basic rules, and they're the ones that when you turn those cogs, they're going to make the biggest difference to your results. So number 1 is beat your numbers. So whatever program you're following, and yes, you should be following a program, whatever program you are following, you have to beat the numbers that you've set the previous week. Otherwise, you're not progressing. In the higher end stuff, athletic populations, etc., obviously there's some sort of progression, regression, things like that. But for general population, people that I deal with every day in the studio, you guys just need the 80 to 90% things to focus on versus the plethora of other small things you can focus on that won't have the same impact on your results. So number 1 is beating your numbers. So let's say you've got a bench press and week 1 you can do the bar. Week 2 for 12 reps. Week 2 you should be able to do 25 kilos, so the bar plus 5 kilos, 2.5 either side for 12. Next week you should be able to do 2 5-kilo plates on either side for 12. And then as you get stronger, now this might be for a male. If you're a female, probably this is going to be like half, I find. But what you can find is that progression being consistent if you turn up to train. If you just turn up and want to tick the box, I've exercised today, great. That's half the problem as to why you're not getting results. However, if you do want to get really good results, this is the way to do it. Tracking your weights based on each exercise. Now, when you change a program, it's important that you have let's say you have an exercise that works on a horizontal push, a vertical push. That can be a barbell shoulder press or a dumbbell shoulder press, doesn't matter. This can be a bench press or a push-up, doesn't matter. Those exercises will transfer over to strength on your new program. So it's important when you are writing a program, when you do have a program, that they have the same principles, let's say in human movement patterns that they're trying to train. So horizontal push, vertical push. Make sure that those variations are in there. Doesn't have to be the exact same exercises each program, but those variations need to be in there in order for you to keep making meaningful progress week on week, year on year. Now, number 2 that I have is tracking your calories or following some sort of diet and strict, okay? So something that I've found in the studio, we're doing a lot of 28-day challenges, like onboarding challenges. It's to show people that they can get results in a short time, and then we kind of, on the back end of that, trim it down a little bit, lower the expectation of output. We make it easier for you to adhere to long term. Short term, everybody's got a pretty good bandwidth to take on more work. Long term, not everybody can sustain that, so we take that into account. And what that looks like for a lot of people is they start tracking calories. Now, they do a 60%, a pretty half-assed job at doing it on a wide variety of people, right? People think that they're tracking calories, but really they're just putting in numbers, and it's a very vague attempt. What you need to do is grab a food scale and track and measure everything that you're putting in your mouth for like a 28-day period, a period of calibrating. So let's say you put 100 grams on a scale, but the 100 grams, if it's a true weight, it works out to be 150. You recalibrate the scale so that 100 grams gives you 100 grams on the scale. So we're doing this with your perception. A lot of people think, 15 grams of peanut butter is this much, but it's actually this much, for example, right? So this is the problem with a lot of people who start tracking calories, is their perception is that they're eating a lot less than what they're eating, okay? And they're confused as to why they're not getting results. So this falls into the track your calories category, where it's important to weigh everything, have a good calibration for what you expect and what you're actually putting in your MyFitnessPal or your calorie tracker, whatever one you decide to use. It's really important to have an effective calibration strategy. How I do that for my clients if they're not getting any results past the 3 to 4 week, I call it a hard reset. So they're expected to follow a plan for 14 days straight. No ifs, ands, or buts. That is all they eat for the 14-day period. Okay? They weigh it, they portion control it. There's nothing other than water that they have on that program outside of that. 100% of the time, you find people lose weight and fast. And so what that does is it kind of, again, recalibrates you, but in a different way. It kind of circumvents your psychology and your reasoning when you are putting in food, and you go, oh, well, hang on, actually, right. I'm having all this food and I'm losing weight. I must not have been adding in everything accurately. So it puts the onus back on people and the responsibility back on people to be accurate with their inputs. And that's where people can get results. So making sure you beat your numbers to make sure you're getting strong and toned and shapely in the areas, growing in the areas that you want to grow, and tracking your calories accurately. You can do a hard reset approach with a firm diet for 14 days. I really like that approach because it's short, and by the time the diet's done, you've got some meaningful results under your belt, but then also it's like, oh, you've got that understanding that you probably weren't doing the right thing by yourself by tracking your calories effectively. So I hope these two ideas and these principles really see you fit, because if you're a general population person, like I'm probably talking to you now, these are going to make the biggest impacts and the biggest move the needle the most when it comes to your training and health and fitness goals. Hope this helps.
Fuse like a magnet, lose won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket.